both their defenses, they're all in their defense. Like Miguel, then you guys have the same manager, right? You guys are both looking all right. So you guys, I mean, they do have some sort of, you know, they have the same management. They are kind of united that way.
And I still feel though that in the fight with, was it Magner? Was Robert? No. I was more biased towards Miguel, and I tried to make sure that I wasn't that sole against the Brian Bowles fight. Just again, that's just part of being human. We make comments, and I have a Joe Silva who's tenaciously vicious about letting me know what's going on and what I do right and what I do wrong, and I try to improve upon it, which I think everybody here in life does, right? You make a mistake.
We all make mistakes.
Hey, I'm a big fan, man. I just want to give you hell, all right?
Well, I can understand too. When I first started training, like when I was traveling around, like before I had my own gym, I was in Vegas actually when I was like 19, 20, and Frank was barely getting in the UFC, and I was like 110 pounds wrestling against Frank. He didn't know who I was. I was just trying to wrestle everybody. I was just like came from Kung Fu. I was just searching for knowledge. And Frank's known, like I would periodically, like twice a year, go to his gym. And that was the old Las Vegas Combat Club. And when I fought in the first WEC, I had his own coach with me. And I looked at Frank and I was like, trying to wave to him, and Frank was like, I don't know you. It's kind of funny, you know? And then I won the fight, and then he remembered who I was. That's the best thing to come to the gym back in the day. And, I just think, and his, I'm not even going to say his defense. I just think he just, appreciates the way that I fight. And I think I have a lot of fans who appreciate the way that I fight. He just talk about it on stage.
All right, my question is for Frank. If you beat Combo and Kane beats Rothwell, is there a possibility that there might be a battle between you two guys?
The heavyweight division could be very much so that way. It's too hard to project things out, especially since, all the heavyweights are usually just one shot from having a loss. So, honestly, I don't know what would happen. That's very well, could be Kane and I have to fight each other. But I think right now that, if you're a lightweight, there's tons of lightweights, so they all got to fight each other all the time. The heavyweight division, there's not a lot of guys who are decent athletes who are tough over 200 pounds. There's not. You weigh 170 and you're, in the top 10, you're a tough guy. A heavyweight in the top 10, that doesn't really mean you're that tough. You know what I mean? If you look at it, it's a much more sparse group of individuals. So a lot of times we don't get to fight each other off that much because you got to have somebody who's going to fight for the title. So it just depends. Kane might get a shot right at the title after fighting Ben. I mean, he wins against Ben and he's undefeated, so he might skip me altogether. Nogueira's out there, Junior Santos is out there. I don't know anywhere. All I know is that, December 12th, I fight Czech Congo. And on a personal note, I want to smash Brock. So that's about as far as I think.
Hi, my question's for all three of y'all. Obviously, not everybody can be champions, and it's really hard to get a fight in such a big organization. So I was just curious how y'all stayed motivated early on in your career to kind of get where you are.
For me, it was easy. Since I can remember being young, I wanted to be a fighter. It's the only thing I've ever had that I ever want to do with myself. I went to college, I graduated, I had all these opportunities to do different things, but I wanted to be a fighter. And every fight that I had put me closer to my goal of being a world champion. And the WC came around, and they had a lot of weight classes, and that's something that I knew. I knew if I stayed there long enough, I'd have a chance to fight in front of television, in front of the audience. And even now I don't have a belt, I still aspire to be a world champion again. And it's just something it's in me to do. I fight with my heart on my sleeve every time I go out there. And you live by the sword, you die by the sword. It's a lifestyle that's really hard to maintain because people love you and they hate you. You live under a microscope. People always taking pictures everywhere you go, what you do, everything you say gets put on the internet or on TV. And it's hard to live that way, but you do it because you love it. There's no real other answer to that.
My main motivation has always been my family. My family's always been my motivation. I have a younger brother, and I want to set a good example for him. So I always lived as clean a life as I could possibly do. And I went to high school, wrestled, swam, played baseball. I was a great athlete. I worked my butt off. Went to college, wrestled in college, was an All-American, was a two-time academic All-American in college. And then after that, I still had that competitive fire burning, and I wanted to keep going. And like I said, I want to lead by example and show my brother that you can chase a dream. And I wasn't a great baseball player. I was definitely not tall enough to be a good swimmer. I mean, if you look at Michael Phelps, I mean, the guy's like 6'4", built like an orangutan. This was like the only thing that I could really do that I felt I could be the best at. I hadn't been wrestling long enough, hadn't been boxing long enough, so this was my time to shine. This was my time. This was my stage, and this sport I felt just opened up right at the right time for me to be able to put 100% of my life and my effort into it, and it's the reason why I do it. So the reason why I fight and I keep by my motivation every day is for my family. I fight to make my brother proud, my family proud.
Is there a chance to ever see Mayweather fight for?
I hope so.
Oh yeah?
For a couple reasons.
And how do you feel about what he said about the MMA fighters in general?
I took it like, I don't go on the internet much, and a buddy of mine called me. I was actually in Arizona doing a seminar, and he called me and told me that Mayweather was making a bunch of comments about fighters, and he wanted me to go on a forum and blog about something, about what I thought about that. And I actually got called by like a bunch of radio interviews, and they did it for me. I mean, I think it's really, very disrespectful. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I would never go out and call out a boxer because I'm not a boxer. And he comes out and calls us out. I think we're complete fighters. I think what we do is totally different than boxing. We're a lot more dangerous than boxing. We have more weapons. So him landing a lucky punch or him trying to do something is not going to happen. If I ever had a chance to fight him, I'd fight him. Here or wherever else it be.
A lot of it's fear, man. Like these boxing promoters, and they're scared. Our sport is so new, but we're killing them as far as numbers go. I mean, the UFC did that show the same night as boxing, we killed them. I mean, the last relevant boxing match was Mayweather versus De La Hoya. That was the last relevant boxing match. Now, Mayweather's fighting guys that are 2 weight classes smaller than him. You know, the guy doesn't even make weight. What MMA fighter would pay $600,000 to not cut 2 pounds? There's not one out there. I mean, not one. I don't even know who the highest paid fighter is. I know Frank probably makes more than both of us combined, but we wouldn't pay that much money to, we wouldn't pay that much money to not make weight. Sorry to throw you under the bus, buddy, but I mean, it's just crazy. There's so many prima donnas in the sport of boxing, and I think that, you know, Sugar Shane Mosley, I think he'll rip Mayweather apart, and I would love to see that fight.
That's the other thing that Mayweather's ducking. He's ducking boxers in his own sport that are calling him out to box. Pacquiao, Mosley, those guys.